you want to get a booth?
To connect with you guys.
Okay.
Like for real, like John, your name is John, right? Look at John, yeah. This is actually my first time.
Is
so
it? Oh,
I'm
first time
learning.
ever?
Ever. I've never been to this.
You've never walked around a trade show?
Never.
Are you looking to sell t-shirts or start a clothing brand? In order to do it profitably, you need to reduce the cost on the products that you buy. To accomplish this, you need to go to a place that's willing to sell their products at a lower cost to you as an entrepreneur. Where do you find those companies? At a place called trade shows. Trade shows are a great place to source for your line and for the products that you need to really start and grow a brand. And in this video, we're going to be diving into the details associated with working with suppliers, as well as how do you get the best deals. Hey, what's going on guys? John Santos, and in this video we continue our From the Ground Up Masterclass series. And in this one, we're diving into sourcing for your brand and products at a trade show. Now, when it comes to the term trade show, a lot of times people think, well, what do I really accomplish there? You see, trade shows are a great place to build real connections with the suppliers that you want to do business with, as well as start to build connections with the people in the industry to continue to support the growth of your brand. So in this video, we brought on some amazing special guests who you may have seen on YouTube before. They include some really cool personalities, people that I've always looked on the channel and I've always seen their content and been inspired by what they're doing for their communities. We brought them on this video because we ran across them at a trade show. So it's a great place to not only build your product collections, it's a great place to also build real life connections. And we also talked to some business owners who have been in the game for many decades, and they share their tips and advice on how to grow and build your brand. One of which is Nabil, who is a founder of Lane 7, and over the last few years, they've grown in popularity due to their heavyweight fleece position for the print-on-demand industry. Now, they're the ones that made this video possible, so go show them some love and check out their links and resources in the description right down below. Down there, you'll also find guides and PDFs to help you continue building your brand and business. Now, you can also follow the chapter markers that we're gonna have throughout this video, guys. It's really intensive, it's really detailed, and it's really powerful to continue helping you guys truly grow your brand. So if you're a new viewer to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now and turn on those post notification bells to be alerted of future video drops. You don't want to miss out on this special series, and let's get started. Yeah. Now, before attending any trade show, guys, it's important to do your pre-planning and to do your due diligence on what you may find at these shows. Now, oftentimes trade shows have a show floor, which include the vendors and the position of where they're at. It's important that you truly start to click around and find out what each vendor offers. And before arriving to the show, download the app that's usually associated with the trade show. On those apps, it allows you to take some notes as well as map out a walking path. You see, because trade shows can be massive, they could be multiple floors, and literally you're gonna be walking for miles. So if you don't map out the strategy on who you wanna see and what you wanna accomplish, chances are you're just gonna attend and be completely overwhelmed. So that's another key tip, guys, is make sure that you prioritize what you wanna accomplish at the show. Is it just buying a certain blank garment or meeting a certain supplier of a piece of equipment? Or do you also want to meet a certain person that's going to help you continue to develop your brand and business? Make sure that you strategize what the game plan is for this show and what you want to accomplish. Create a hit list, create like the top things that you want to get out of it. And then before the show is over, make sure that you knock and you do a little check mark on each of the things that you wanted to accomplish before you attended. And you really have to do this at any cost, guys. If you challenge yourself to be on a video or to be on a podcast or to get your brand out or to connect with somebody there, make sure that you step out of your comfort zone and you do it. Because once you do that, guys, things really start to change. When you just attend something and you're just walking around and grabbing business cards, nothing will really move forward. It won't move your goals and your priorities forward, all right? You got nothing else to lose. You'll only continue to gain. So now that we got the groundwork done on how to make the most of your trade show experience, our first guest is a man, Stan Banks from T-Shirt Side Hustle, and he's gonna show you how to make the most of your purchasing power. So make sure you guys are ready to take some notes.
I'm Stan Banks from T-Shirt Side Hustle, and I help people start t-shirt businesses from home, or wherever you're at. When it comes to going to trade shows, you're gonna be walking around for a long time, so make sure you dress comfortably, wear some nice cross-training shoes, and bring an empty book bag, because if you get a lot of literature from the companies, Those bags are cheap, they're gonna tear, they're gonna rip, and you don't want that at all. The next thing that I wanna tell you guys is if you wanna buy equipment, you gotta show up early, because all of those units that they don't wanna carry back home, they get spoken for, somebody buys them, they get a discount, and they'll just mark them and say, hey, this one's for Stan, you won't be able to buy it. So if you wanna buy equipment, you show up early. Lastly, if you want to buy supplies, you show up late. Again, they don't want to carry any of the stuff that they ship here because they have to pay shipping to get it back. So you can find extreme discounts the last hour of the show, even like literally as they packing up, you can be like, I want that. They'll give it to you next to nothing. That's inks, that's any type of supplies, consumables that you may want. When it comes to trade shows, it's kind of like really corporate. You know, you can always count on a place like Omni to have some girls in the booth. But outside of that, it's pretty much really corporate and clean, so you don't see too much crazy stuff. I mean, listen, go to every booth, touch everything, feel everything, ask questions, but I think the part that's slept on is it's a bunch of sales reps here. Talk to the people in the booth. If you see somebody that just came out of Lane 7 booth, and I seen a guy talking about how much he loves the brand and I need this, I need that, the changes, and they already made some of the changes that he wanted. So that's somebody who's actually using the brand, using the product, and having a good experience. And no sales rep can give you that advice. And when it comes to getting into the industry, get the best for your budget and get started. Nothing's more important than that piece. The rest you can figure out along the way, but I can guarantee you one thing, and the questions that you ask as you watching and looking and asking, just being afraid to get into it, when you get into it, you're gonna have a completely different set of questions, and all of those questions that you had are gonna be null and void. So don't worry about the cost of this, the cost of that, what people say about this, what people say about that. Get the best that you can afford today. Get started, and then you'll grow along the way.
What's one thing that you've seen so far at the show that like really kind of like opened your eyes, or like something new and innovation here? Because I haven't had a chance to really walk around too much.
It's DTF everywhere.
Right, that's what I have
DTF everywhere. I think the CobraFlex machine is something that I'm interested in seeing how it develops. I think a lot of this technology is really early, and it could change any given moment. So I wouldn't be a first adopter. I would just watch and see how people are using the machines and the early adopters and what they have to say. Right. But overall, you know, I'm excited to see where DTF goes because it's a huge community being built right now.
Most definitely. And then where do you see the future of DTF being when it comes to, obviously we have DTG, and then you got companies like Supplier that are already printing those transfers. Where do you see like DTF fitting in the mix?
Man, everything has its place in this industry. You know, I remember when DTG came out, it was going to kill everything. It's going to be the end of this, the end of that, and that's just not true, man. You got to look at what type of business you're doing and what you're trying to make at the end of the day, and then you'll backtrack to what actually works. So DTF for me, the way I look at it right now is it allows you to customize full color on a lower scale, like smaller minimums and different things like that, but ultimately being able to provide that custom idea. And you know, it's a better option because the quality is a lot better than what you would get with like transfer papers and all of that stuff as it goes along.
Now, one of the key tips that Stan mentioned is that don't just talk to the sales reps at the booths, guys. They're always there to tell you everything that's good about a product, but the people that you also want to talk to are the customers that are coming out of that booth. Stan was able to speak to somebody coming out of Lane 7, and he got the inside scoop on that brand and how they leverage them for their clothing brand. So it really brings us into the next part of this video, where we talk with the owner of Lane 7, who is Nabil, and he shares how a single blank garment transformed his company and is now creating millions of garments for apparel brands like yours. Throughout this story, you're also going to get some tips and tricks and insights on what you can expect as a brand owner when you come to a trade show. My man, thanks for joining us in this video.
Absolutely, man. Love what you guys are doing. Happy to welcome you here. So I've been in manufacturing for about 22 years now. 7 years ago, me and my cousin Talha, we both started in a downtown store. We knew we wanted to wholesale clothing, but we just didn't know who our customers were. And this is back in July 2014. In 2015 is when we did our first ISS show, and we had a 10 by 10 booth right over in that corner. And that is when we first got to know the whole print industry, the blank industry, and what to do and how to do. And that's where we got started. We were in that downtown store for about 2.5 years, and we launched our 3N fleece, and since then we've sort of catapulted into stardom. We do it entirely different from anybody else, and it does pretty good with printing, washing, wearing, and everything. So not to reflect on the industry as a whole, but one thing that we did adhere to right from the start, given our manufacturing background, we knew that we wanted to bring in a quality product without upcharging too much for it. A, and B, we were completely honest about what we were doing. We had customers come in and say, your garments shrink, and we said, yeah, obviously they shrink, that's the nature of the garment. And they said, well, the guy next door is saying that theirs don't shrink. And we said, amazing, but garments shrink. That's the nature of this product. At any given time, we are always rethinking and always investing into research on how to make that garment still better, what else we can do to improve it. That's one of the reasons why we've been so popular. Our consistency is very, very amazing. So it's not like you're getting good products in March and not so good products in August. And our inventory, our quality has been very, very consistent. As a whole, the industry is sort of always looking for something new. So, I mean, for example, this year we are not launching any new product, but we're launching a whole lot of new colors in already present products. So they do come here, they want to look at what's new, and obviously we have a lot of new turnover as well. That's one thing. And then price obviously is important given the circumstances with the global supply chain issues, cotton pricing going up, so they do look for pricing. But most of all, everybody wants consistency in inventory, which, given whatever has transpired in the past 2 years, we are doing pretty good with. So what we do is, when people come in, we scan their badges. So, starting Monday, we'll just start trying to reach out to all of the people that we've scanned and, talk to them, see what their needs are and how we can help them. Our ideal customer is anybody, man. We don't care if they're a really big company. We don't care if they're a really small company. What we like doing is helping them out. We just like seeing that people are using our products and putting that, to benefit themselves and their companies. One advice is that cheaper is not always the best. I mean, the show floor is here. You'll always find somebody who's going to say, oh, I'll give it to you 20 cents cheaper from the guy next door. It is your brand. What you put into your brand will reflect on your brand. So if you use a cheaper product, or if you use a run-of-the-mill product, it's going to reflect on your brand. With a cheaper product, they're going to come to you once. With a better quality product, they're going to keep coming back to you, and that is where most of your business will come from. Like I said earlier, one of our biggest qualities is our consistency. So right now, we are very, very well loved within the print-on-demand industry. You can actually see we have a collaboration booth with a print-on-demand company. And one of the reasons that they keep coming back to us is our consistency in quality. The way we produce our 3N fleece, it's primed for DTG production. It has 100% cotton face. There's 3 different layers of yarn, so there's very minimal dye migration. As opposed to any other fleece on the market, their usage of pre-curing actually goes down. Once you place an order, we try to ship it out within 24 hours. And then obviously depending on where you're ordering from, if it's the East Coast, it takes anywhere between 5 to 7 days to get there. It's the Midwest, it takes about 3 to 5 days. If it's Southern California, it's within a day or 2 days. One thing that we have recently launched, I think we launched it 4 or 5 days ago, is our sustainability initiative. So all of our, except for 2 products, our entire outerwear line now has recycled polyester. In addition to that, we are using dyeing plants which use half the amount of water. So only last year, I think we saved about 48 million liters of water in our entire fleece production. And we are using renewable energy, solar panels in our factories. We have just started that, and we are foraying more into it and how to achieve more and how to do even more for that matter. In addition to that, we are going to go into more colors and more SKUs later down the year.
And I remember the very first time we started sourcing for our own brand back in 2010, I was also in the mindset of how do I get the cheapest product in order to sell it for a profit. But like Nabil mentioned, guys, the cheapest products don't always reflect the best quality. And quality really will dictate on whether your customers will want to buy from you again. So keep that in mind as you source for products for your brand. You really want to find a good strategy that works for you and your budget, but doesn't isolate or turn your customers away from a repeat buyer. Which brings us into our next special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Gary Ajene with tshirthelpdesk.com. Gary's here to really share some insight on how to select the best blank for your brand, as well as some printing tips and techniques that you need to know. So let's jump into it.
What's up, Gary Ajene, tshirthelpdesk.com. I would say come in with an open mind, make sure that you have enough time, and just go from booth to booth to booth and see what they have to offer. Let them sell you on something. You don't have to buy anything, because one little bit of information that you don't have could change your whole trajectory as an entrepreneur. That one little thing that you didn't know existed, or that one little problem that you have, could be solved with just one vendor. So everybody go to everybody, see what they have to offer, and learn something. I would say that's my number one thing. For those of you guys who are looking to come to a show like this and to source blanks and all that good stuff, some advice that I would tell you is to take a look, feel it, that's number one. Look at the content, right? And see if you can get some samples right then and there, or have them ship you a sample, right? And wash test it, and wash it a couple times, because everything brand new feels and looks great. But the care content and the fibers and how they did it is going to tell you how it's going to last. If you've ever had something and you had these little balls on it, it's called pilling. That is going to be the difference in having a quality brand and having people like, man, this stuff sucks, right? So you want to look at the care contents, and you want to see, polyester is not necessarily a bad thing, because there's high quality polyester, and you just want to wash test everything first, right? At least 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, and then see if it pills, and then see if it maintains the quality after a few washes, because a lot of things look really good, and you want to get something that looks good, that goes along with your brand, but you want to make sure that it's quality, and you cannot tell, I'm telling you, you cannot tell from just looking at it the first time. You have to get that thing home, you got to wash it and print on it, and then wash it again. Face value does not tell you quality. People, when they do printing, not knowing certain things, like for instance, you can't do sublimation on anything but polyester or high polyester content, and you can't do it on dark blanks. So I would say knowing whatever your substrate is in comparison to your printing techniques and how it works together. That's why with everything you have to test. Same thing that I was saying before with the blanks. You have to test everything to see if it works together. Always get a sample and get a small order before you go big, because once you get that big order, they ain't taking it back. And then once it's all good, then you can go big. Couple of things, talk to them first to see what files they need. If they need a JPEG file, a PNG file, or whatever. Get something called either a test, or in the industry it's called a strike off. It's where they show you what it's gonna look like. Also, there's something called Pantone colors. There's about 1 million different shades of red. So you wanna have either Pantone or some type of color standard where you can tell them, I want this red, this blue, and this, and then they're gonna send you a sample or a strike off. And then, before you make the big order, you make sure it's all, you look at it real good, then you make the big order, everything will be just fine.
At this show, we also had an opportunity to connect with the viewer, with you guys. See, because a lot of times when we just watch the videos and we see the comments, we get to hear your story, but we truly don't get to connect in the way when we get to meet in person and you guys tell me about your growth, your journey, your struggles, and their successes. It was amazing and refreshing to hear. I personally was driven even more to do bigger things for this community, and my team was able to fully understand the impact that we have in the lives of you guys watching. So it was amazing to hear, it was amazing to be around. We had an incredible weekend. And we also had a chance to run into Cassandra, the owner of Blanks Galore, who has a Facebook group of over 70,000 users. Now, it was really cool to get her insight because it was the very first time that she attended a trade show. I really wanted to pick her brain on what she overall thought of the experience, and the things that she has to say is something that you guys need to listen to. You've never walked around a trade show?
Never. Like, so my first time even coming to a trade show, I actually got a booth. So I've never been to a trade show ever. My students need printers because I teach sublimation. But just the different connections is for me, I love it. So yeah, before arriving to the trade show, I thought it was gonna be a bit boring. You know, people just walking around grabbing free templates, but I really love the connections that I'm making, the collaborations, meeting you guys, getting in touch with Epson. So it's definitely being able to meet people in my space. Because, you know, as a crafter or just doing sublimation, you rarely meet people who knows how to do these things, or they don't even think it's a real business. So this right here is like the Disney World for crafters. So I love it here. I was just telling my students, you got to speak what you seek until you see what you say. I used to always say when I was younger, I wish I could be in the room, because it's about getting in the room. I wish I could be in the room with other like-minded people. So when the opportunity came, I got here, and just, it's exactly what I imagined it would be, just meeting other people. I mean, like, look at the connections I'm making with John. Your name is John, right? Look at John, yeah. Who would have thought, you know? So it's definitely the connections for me. So I'm gonna tell you guys again, whatever you believe in, speak what you see until you see what you say. It works.
Now, for those of you guys who provide a printing service to your community, it's also important that we discuss how do you provide the best garments? How do you get the best equipment in order to continue running and improving your brand? So our next guest, we went straight to the source of a print-on-demand company called Awkward Styles, and they share how they source for the blanks that their customers can resell, as well as some tips that you need to know as an entrepreneur.
Awkward Styles is a print-on-demand company. We do fulfillment, drop shipping, and we also do white label shipping. We like to get brands or get other merchants to work with us. They can easily integrate through Shopify, Etsy, WooCommerce. If they have bigger volumes or they have their own store, we also have an API. We work with Order Desk as well. And pretty much we do everything from apparels to home goods, canvases. Our main ways of production is DTG, sublimation, and we do some heat press as well.
That's pretty cool. So you guys literally do almost every type of garment.
Yeah, we're kind of a one-stop shop, and that's what a lot of people like as well. So from different competitor areas, we like to pretty much tell them and be transparent that we have our own fulfillment center, and we're willing to accommodate those needs for each merchant. We keep a close eye on quality control, production, and pretty much how it ships. And then if it needs be, we have our own customer service team that can directly attend to that merchant as well. We carry over 150 products online, and all of them are customizable to each merchant needs. And as you mentioned, we have from anywhere from t-shirts to pillows to mugs. There's everything to choose from for everyone's specific needs. So as a DTG company, we like to choose our garments based on print qualities, how well the ink stays according to the machines that we use. We like to use organic products as well because DTG prints best on those. The higher the content is on the organic material, then the better quality you're going to get on your print. One of the reasons that we work with Lane 7 is the popularity on the shirts and the way that the shirt prints. So that's, to us, that's number one, because we want to give the best product out there available. And then at the end of the day, we have a happy customer, a happy merchant that is willing to come back to us with the products that we provide for them. I would say do your research really well. For entrepreneurs that are coming into this, definitely they needed to know what they want is number one. And then after that, they have to kind of go into their niche and specifically, again, to their needs and wants. Because at the end of the day, that'll make you happier. If you just go for the first company that you see for, maybe you're not gonna get the best results and you're gonna have maybe a sour taste in your mouth about maybe that company or the industry as well. And you might wanna, go around before you even see what else is out there. So coming to Impressions Expo or a show similar to this really gives you the upper hand on picking and choosing. It's like a buffet, So you can come see what you want.
Now, like they just mentioned, the power of collaboration is something that can happen at a trade show when you meet with somebody in person, right? Because when you're sourcing online, that connection that we as humans really thrive for isn't there. So when you take the time to meet with somebody who's going to be a potential supplier of your products, you really want them to know about your goals and ambitions and find a way where you guys can both collaborate to create the best product for your audience. Which really brings us into our next guest, which is a man, Victor, owner of OmniPrint International, and he's going to be sharing the ways and how you could build a network and a community to build your brand and business.
As an attendee, guys, that's a great question. You want to focus on the first thing. If you had one thing that I could tell you, is relationships and making sure that you're making those connections. You don't know the guy with the badge or the woman with the badge next to you, she might be where you want to be in 5 years. You guys are on the same path. Relationships and networking is number one. I recently started streamlining that a lot for myself, right? Because I would go back for an event, I would talk to a lot of people, and I would have a lot of business cards, right? Like I literally have bricks of business cards in all my drawers. And you gotta think about, well, what's my target for this event? Who are the top 3 people that I need to meet? And then you think about prioritizing your 1-2 things that you wanna take out of it, right? So yes, you're gonna meet a lot of people, you're gonna connect, but those people that are impactful based on your goals, right? You gotta have goals and targets on the way in. So you're gonna make a notepad, right? And this is tactical. You make a notepad and you say, all right, these are the main 3 things I wanna accomplish. And you write it down and then you prioritize them when you get back. Don't get back, oh, I went to this event, I met all these people, and then you go back to your same routine and you haven't implemented or done anything based on that show. Even if you know you have to buy something, why add time to it? Because you're gonna buy it in 6 months, you're gonna buy it in a year, or you're gonna make a relationship. Why add time to it? Just execute on it. So that's the number one thing. Don't just add time to everything and not have a plan.
That's amazing advice. I always catch myself doing that, where I'm like, oh, I'll do it next week. But it's like, I needed to do it anyways. Why don't I do it right now?
Yep.
Right? It's like the power of now.
This one might sting, guys. This one might sting. When you go to an event and you meet somebody, don't fake the funk. If you're at a certain spot, then be at that certain spot and be authentic and be genuine. Because, for example, if you come in and say, hey, you know what, I do $1 million a day in orders and I need 50 of these machines and all that stuff, and you haven't done shit, guess what? You look like a clown. You don't want to do that. You want to be yourself. You want to be intentional about what you're doing. So don't make that mistake. Say, hey, you know what? I don't know anything. I'm just starting. Help me there. The mission, right? It all goes down to that. We want to empower business owners globally to thrive with print on demand and e-commerce. We're making sure that we keep releasing new products for the bigger, better, faster, at high quality. Also, giving you more products at a more accessible pricing so that you can start winning in your business. Also, we're going to help you with marketing, actually growing your business, sales executions, that kind of stuff, because once you have equipment, guys, then what's next, right? You have to sell and you have to market.
Man, powerful advice from the man, Victor. You see, when you attend a show, you gotta make the most out of it. So make sure you make the most out of watching right now by going back and hearing and writing notes on the things that really stood out to you and follow along with the chapter marks. And at this moment, leave a comment for us. Let us know what a key takeaway has been so far in this video and what you're gonna be doing with this information. So make sure you guys go back, rewind this video, make the most of you guys watching it, and write down the important information that you need to take action on. Make sure you use the chapter marks to navigate throughout this content. And at this moment, I also want you guys to leave us a comment with a key takeaway that you had so far. Because this next guest has over 20 years of experience selling hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And he's going to be sharing the things that you need to know as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when it comes to investing into this equipment. The things that you need to look out for, as well as the things that you need to do before you purchase and after you purchase. So let's jump into it.
So I work for Hirsch Solutions. I've been with Hirsch for almost 30 years now. We're a distributor for equipment that you decorate apparel with. Well, the best thing to do is you go to the trade show website first, find out where all the people that you're interested are going to be. This way you can kind of map out before you actually get to the show, so you're not just kind of walking around blind. But then the most important thing is when you see the equipment at the show, you see something you like, you're really interested in, go get a personal demo. Go do a setup, go to a person's place, whether it's a customer's place that runs the equipment, whether it's a demo office that they can show you the equipment, because at the show you're not going to get that one-on-one attention that you really deserve when you're spending the amount of money you spend for this equipment. Don't rush by, don't panic buy, look at what you like, go get a personal demo, whether it be at a customer's facility or an actual distributor's demo room.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
Go get a personal demo from a shop itself.
So many people panic buy at shows and then they regret it later because they didn't check the service, the support after the sale. They just got tied up in the moment and they regret it. What happens is they buy the equipment and unfortunately the equipment doesn't have a big resale value because they don't have the support, they don't have things like that. So they say, hey, if you can help me get rid of this, I could buy that. And I'm like, but nobody wants this. You panic bought. The big horror stories I have is someone has a piece of equipment that they don't know how to run because they didn't get trained properly, or they don't get the support they need, they have an issue with the equipment, and no one's taking care of them. So do that research, find that company you like, find that equipment you like, and go physically see them after the show. It's very important.
Now, like they just mentioned, the power of collaboration is something that can happen at a trade show when you meet with somebody in person, right? Because when you're sourcing online, that connection that we as humans really thrive for isn't there. So when you take the time to meet with somebody who's going to be a potential supplier of your products, you really want them to know about your goals and ambitions and find a way where you guys can both collaborate to create the best product for your audience. It's crazy to think that everything that you buy comes out of a port like this. The truck's moving, the port's rolling. So when you're sourcing for products, you got to keep that in mind. Are the products going to be available and able to get off the containers in time in order to sell for your brand? So I really hope that this sourcing video helps So I really hope that this sourcing video sheds some light in how you can make the most out of trade shows, keeping in mind that every brand's availability is really limited by what happens at a port like this. So remember, be patient, find the products that you need, connect with the vendors, build those relationships, and more importantly, get ready to truly walk the floors and make the most of your time and efforts, because the money that you're investing into going into a trade show should be paying dividends to your brand and business. We had a great time filming this thing. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell to be alerted to future video drops, because on this channel, our mission is to help entrepreneurs like you build brands that impact the world from the ground up. So see you guys on the next one.